सो काले करना महान शख्सियत पंथ दर्दी हरमन प्यारे हर दे अजीज सरदार साहब सरदार दिदार सिंह जी बैंस जी सानू सारिਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਦੀ ਵਿਛੋੜਾ ਦੇ ਗਏ ਹਨ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਚਰਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਵਾਸ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨ। ਸੋ ਆਓ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਜਸਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ 2-4 ਮਿੰਟ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। First of all, I'd like to welcome all of you and thank all of you for coming from near and far. I know a lot of people some people came from England, India, Canada, and a lot of other places. And on behalf of my family, I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking your very valuable time and coming here and share us and participate in this, services. My brother, we came. I just want to tell you, we came from very humble beginning. My brother used to walk to school every day. I still remember, 3-4 miles away from our village. He was born in Indulged, which is very close to Mahalpur, and then he was in the 10th grade when he came to here in 1958, and he joined my grandfather, Sardar, U.S. for policy. And my mother and I joined them here in 1962. And then after the rest of my sisters and my brothers and their families came in the mid-60s. So Didar Singh came here. There was a lot of responsibility. We had a big family. There were 8 of us. My sister Prakash Kaur, my brother Dilbag Singh. They were the oldest one in the family. I'm the youngest one in the family. I'm youngest of 8 children. One of the things I remember, my brother, he used to go to. There's a Sikh temple nearby called Baba Lakon. I remember my brother, very young age, used to go over there. They used to have services on every Monday, and I remember he used to get up like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then attend those services, and then come back. And then he went to school. My family was a large family, and then he had to take some financial responsibility and worked hard. And thank God, very, very successful. One of the my brother he was always aspired to learn. Not only, he was not a very materialistic person. He didn't care what kind of clothes he wore. He did not care what kind of car he drove. And one of the unique characteristics was he could communicate with anybody. I've seen him witness him. He can communicate with one of the smartest people, one of the most highly educated people, and he could relate to the simple people, just a common labor. He didn't care, and he loved company, and he loved the family, and he left a great legacy for which I am personally, and on behalf of him, very, very thankful, because all of us became very, very successful. So anyway, it's I learned a lot, not only on the business side, but also the spiritual side, because like I said earlier, he's very, 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 very religious person, and I shared. I learned, he was kind of a role model to me. But one thing about him, everybody knows we're in a business or anything. You have to be kind of a shrewd person to be successful in business. But one of the things I'll tell you, he did it his own way. I mean, whether you liked it or not, eventually you came around. That was the characteristics I admired about him. I didn't like some of the stuff with him, but at the end of the day, when I got older, I understood that he actually was right. So for him, and he had a full life. I mean, just this kind of sweet and sour deal. I mean, yes, we lost him, but he had a full life, 84 years old. He got son. I mean, you have three children who came. Jiti, for our family, Ajit Bains was the first one. That's kind of laid the foundation for our family. He was the first born in U.S. and then Diljit came, and then Khan came after that. So from there, our family grew. In 1964, he married Santi Bains, my Padviji here. I really thank her because she did so much for my family. My sister, particularly when they came from India, used to take everybody to doctors and everything. There was like, he did a lot. And my brother, I can't believe. So one thing, biggest thing we learned from him, because Sikh religion is basically like a Puritan religion. Three fundamentals. Guru Nanak laid three fundamentals. Tarndi, Girtkar, Naam Jap, and Band Ke Shap. Those are the three fundamentals of Sikhism. What it means is, you work hard, learn an honest living, and be great to the God, and then you share it with others and live in the community, the rest of the community by sharing and those things. And my brother, I think he did all those things. For that, I'm very, very thankful. So thank you very much for coming. And from now, I think Jerry Brown, Jerry Brown is here. Oh, Jerry, there you go, Jerry. Jerry was a personal friend, a very good friend of Didar. He became in the 80s. So my brother Didar knew him since then Jerry again for two terms. He was very close friends. And Jerry, I remember when the Lord got sick, and he was at UC Davis, Jerry came and saw him a couple times, at least a couple times over there. Then even when he came home after that, and Jerry came and visited him 2-3 times, he used to call me, call Karn, and always kept in touch, for which I am very thankful. For with that, I no longer do I would like to call on Jerry Brown, Governor Jerry Brown, to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, it's both a pleasure and a privilege to be here. It's a sad day, a day that we all encounter sometime in our life. And I just want to say I've had the privilege of knowing Didar Bains a very long time. It means a lot to me that he was born in 1938 as I was. He was born the same month, April. Of course, my upbringing in San Francisco, California was very different than Didar Bains. He went through the terrible times when India was split, and Pakistan and India split off, and all the terrible killings. He grew up in that. He must have known about that and encountered it. I had a very placid life in San Francisco. And being able to come from India all the way to California, that separates people. People can't do that unless they're very courageous. And he had courage, and of course, Didar Bains had vision to be able to come and pick in the fields as an ordinary farm laborer, and then to be able to amass the great wealth and the property and the fields that he achieved. And he came to California in a very special year for our family, 1958. That was the year my father was elected governor of California. And he knew my father, and he came to know me very early. He's the first guy I ever met that wore a turban. I didn't quite know what that was all about. And of course, he spoke with a very heavy accent, so that made him a little more mysterious, a little more exotic. So it took me a while to really appreciate Didar Bains. But as I knew him more over the years, I came to appreciate not only his strength as a person, his intellect, but also his strong religious commitment. In the work that I have done most of my life, politics, it's a lot about power and manipulation and self-seeking, but it's not about God. It's not about the deep spirituality that Didar Bains expressed, he exhibited, and that was very unusual. I'd have to say of all the people that I encounter, particularly people that I'm looking to raise money from. You know, these politicians have to raise money, so they're always looking for how to get a buck. And so most of the people, that's not the highest order of relationships. But Didar Bains always exhibited a certain dignity that set him aside, that set him apart from other people. And he was certainly loyal. He was my friend when I was in power, and he was my friend when I was out of power. He didn't treat me any differently. He treated me with the respect that he gave to all human beings. So, and that led me to want to understand more about the Sikh religion. I learned a little bit about it, and somebody gave me volumes of books by the sixth Guru, and I read a little of that. I still don't know that much about it, but I know from Didar Bains that this is a powerful force in the world, and he exhibited that. And what can I say? He also, by the way, was part of a fundraiser at the new governor's mansion. You may have read that I didn't live in the governor's mansion. I thought it was too fancy. It was a new one. And my father lived in the old governor's mansion. And Ronald Reagan didn't like that old mansion. It was too old for him. And he wanted a new one. And he didn't like being in Sacramento, so he built a house, what I called the Taj Mahal. It really wasn't a Taj Mahal, but it cost a lot of money. And that new mansion, the new governor's mansion, which I would live in, I never saw it until a fundraiser that Didar Bains put together, and I actually got to see this strange building that looked like a Safeway. Yeah, that's what it looked like. And it didn't look like the old Victorian thing. So anyway, I have to thank Didar Bains for finally getting me to go inside the new governor's mansion, which of course, because I wouldn't live in it, they sold it, and a private individual now has it. And then later when I became governor the second time, I refurnished the old mansion, which all the other governors lived in. And it's right there in downtown Sacramento. And so that was special. So Didar was an important person in my life. He was an important person in the life of California and Yuba City and the Sikh community. You're really losing a giant. We all have to go, and when I see people dying at 84, and I'm 84, April, I know my time is right around the corner. So I like to come to funerals because it's not mine. But I'm still very appreciative, and I want to express a very warm feeling toward Didar and his whole family. And he did leave an impression. He was kind of like a rock. There was something very solid. And I can tell you, politics in the 21st century is anything but solid. It isn't solid.